Now let's get started here. All right. Now what happened was offer writing workshop. Uh, Disclaimer: I'm your lawyer. I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. Hire a lawyer. The offer writing workshop. What we're going to try to do here is put together a package, an offer based upon this particular deal. Now what I did is I went out to my list of clients, all my clients, and I said, hey, is anybody working on anything they can send to me, and I can take a look at? And one of my clients sent this to me. I just opened it 5 minutes ago, and when I opened it, I thought to myself, oh, shoot, I think I have another client that is actually looking at this same deal. So this should be kind of interesting. I will not disclose anything more than that. And whenever I have two clients who are involved in the same deal, I maintain the equivalent of what we call in the legal profession a Chinese wall between the two discussions. I really play Switzerland and make sure that I don't disclose anything about what the other person is doing to the other investor. So I always protect myself this way. Now, in this particular case, this is from a broker, and listen, I have not got past this first page, and I had two text messages from the student on this particular deal, and I will go through that because he raised a couple of issues. He thinks that that he made a couple of errors on his analysis. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the deal. We're going to look at his CFA. We're going to tweak it, figure it out, and then we're going to draft an offer on this deal as we go forward. So the let me see. This particular property is being offered by a nice little brokerage house down in Nashville. I believe they're in Nashville, Tennessee. Kirkland. Dennis is the name of the broker that I've had many dealings with over the years. Nice guy. We had a deal under contract with him, and then kind of fell out of contract right at the time his daughter was being born. Really nice guy, just a good guy, and he represents his clients well. And just understand that he does not represent you; he represents his clients. So here is one of his next offerings called, as I scroll through it, called The Links at Reed's Lake or Reds Lake, depending upon where you're from. It's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattanooga is a up-and-coming area. It's a good secondary market, almost a tertiary market. It's kind of interesting when you're looking at, trying to label areas, primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary, typically Boston, New York, Miami, Washington. Those are the easy primary markets. Secondary markets are the ones off to that, and the tertiary or third markets are even further away. When you're dealing with an area like Nashville, where is the primary market in that area? You'll never find anything like a Boston. Maybe in Atlanta, yeah, okay, that might be the primary market. But when you're provincial to Tennessee, the primary markets in Tennessee are Nashville, Memphis, and then everything off of that are your secondary markets. So that is kind of what we're seeing here. And so this particular market you're looking at, it's like a secondary market of Nashville, but it's really a tertiary market when you're looking at the big money people. Big money people wouldn't touch this particular marketplace, but you got to think about, if I were to buy this property, how am I going to get this deal financed? And you're not going to get a deal like this financed by the big money people. You're going to be dealing with your local lenders, but not only that, your local investors as well. 66 unit, good second acquisition for an apartment owner. I mean, as you all know, I'm espousing that you should buy your property, start off with a 20 and then double it every year, double what you own every year. This will be a second year size purchase. Here's the confidentiality and disclaimer. This is their get out of free jail card. This is the broker's get out of free jail card. And there's Dennis's name right there, Dennis Harris, good guy, and Miller Harris. And believe it or not, there is no relation between the two, if I remember correctly. So that's the that's the size of the Kirkland Company, Brentwood, Tennessee. Brentwood is actually a suburb of Nashville. Okay, so table of contents, yada. Property profile, there it is. Oh yeah, this is definitely this definitely came in from another investor, and I spoke very highly of this property. Let's go through what we know. Proud to present the marketing and pricing analysis of the links, blah, blah, blah. It's opportunity to add a stable turnkey asset in a highly sought after apartment market of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Investment highlights, great location, more than 75% 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom floor plans. Okay, over 98% occupied. Nice. Leasing office in a 66 unit property. I hope it's not a unit turned leasing office. Because that's a problem with 66 unit size properties, that middle of the road size property. When you grab a leasing office and you use it as when you grab a unit and you use it as a leasing office, you lose all that revenue. And especially when this property is 98% occupied, geez, do you really want to lose that one unit? That's something you want to take into consideration as you go through it. Okay, request for offers, offering price, request for offers. What do you know? What do you know? What do you need to know? If you see an offer package come across that has a no price or price TBD or price to be determined by market, then you need to know one other little bit of information. Because remember, folks, remember that formula, and it's the power of the cap rate. I keep talking about that formula. You've heard me talk about it a million times. Cap rate equals net operating income over the purchase price. They're not telling us the purchase price. Are they telling us the NOI? Yes, they are. So they're telling us what the NOI is, and if we had the benefit of one more variable, we can solve for the purchase price. And what is that variable? The cap rate. So if you're an investor, if you're looking to invest in this property in Chattanooga, you had better know what the cap rates are for that particular type of property in that marketplace. You're an investor. Investors win because of knowledge. They know more about the market than everybody else. They know when to get in. They know when to get out. They know when something is overpriced. They know when something is a steal. That's what investors do, and that's why they make their money. So, are you an investor in Chattanooga? If you are, then you should be able to tell me instantaneously, this type of property is trading for this cap rate. And when you tell me what that number is and it's right, I can tell you instantaneously what the price is of this property. I can tell you what the value is of this property. I can tell you that we can walk into a bank and get financing on this property at this price because I know that market. So if you don't know that information, you had better get out there and get it. And the last person who's going to tell you what the information is this broker, Dennis Harris. Because he knows too, if he gives you that cap rate, he's just set the price. So nowhere in this package are you going to see any mention of a cap rate. Not only that, but if you pick up the phone and you call Dennis Harris and you say, Dennis, what's the cap rate on this property? Or what's the cap rate in this marketplace for this type of an asset? Dennis is going to just bob and weave. He's not going to answer your question. You have to get that answer. And once you have it, knowledge is power. You now know what the purchase price is or the asking price is for this property. Okay, location, site, 66 units, number of buildings, 7 buildings, built in 74. So we're talking, this is an older property. It's not an 84, it's a 74. This is a C-class style property. So be careful. Let me just check. I just want to keep my eye on the questions. I'm just going to blow out the question box here so I can keep it open. Oh, good. I just found out that the person who gave me this package is on the call right now, so he can, I can open the call up to him, and he can tell me exactly his thoughts on the matter. Let's see. All right. So next, utilities. EBP of Chattanooga, Tennessee American Water. What's missing here? What's the more important piece of information regarding the utilities? Who's paying for them? Who is paying for the utilities? Is it the tenant or is it the landlord? Well, we know who we're paying the money to, but we don't know who is paying that money to them. And so that's something we want to keep our eye on. Okay, so here they've got a pretty big spread, pretty big unit mix here. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, washer, dryer. Oh, they got 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath, townhouse. Okay, so big spread here. This is going to be important. This particular, we'll make a note of the fact that this is on page 6 when we go to build out our cash flow analysis. Okay, very important information. Okay, then when they have pretty pictures, check out this. Listen, look at that kitchen. That's pretty sweet. I hope they've done that to everybody. I hope they do that to everybody because every unit, because that would save you a whole heck of a lot of money. That would mean you don't have to do much renovation. So that's a pretty nice deal. If you go to do the due diligence and you walk in the units, you want to see how many units look like this, or how many units still need to be renovated. And if they're not all like this, then how many of these style units exist, and how much rent do they command versus a non-renovated unit? So I can tell you, I look at that, I think that looks beautiful. Great job, bravo. And I think I said the exact same thing to the other coaching student when they showed it to me. Yeah, I remember this, the American flag made out of what do they call those things? A platform type of thing. Landscaping. Nice. Okay. What's going on? I don't care about the maps. I don't care about this, because this will give you an idea if we can. I love this. If you folks have not signed up for Google Earth yet, you have to have Google Earth in order to buy property from a distance, because Google Earth will show you things like this. Not only will they show you this, but it will fly you down to street level and take you for a drive around this property right as you see it. So look at this. Is a nice little property. It's got great road frontage. The entrance is one right here, but look how much, if you're driving along, you can easily see this property. Great place to put a for rent sign. Over here, it looks like you've got some competition. I don't know if these are condos or if they're apartments. Might be a little competition for you. Over here, it looks like duplexes of some sort. Might be condos. And then you've got this road that must be Reed Lake right there, right next to you. This is a nice location. This is actually pretty good. I like this. Okay, so what else do we have here? Yeah, I don't care about that. Let's see, demographic, I don't care about that. Listen, I fly through this stuff. I don't care about this stuff right now. I'm just trying to make an offer. I'm trying to get the ball rolling. Okay, and I just found out, Mike just told me that the property has about 50 units upgraded out of the 66. So they got another 16 units. So my question then becomes, okay, out of the 50 units that have been upgraded, how many of them are commanding a higher rent than the other remaining 16 that have not been upgraded? But what I was going to say here is under this information I don't care about right now. But if I go to build my private placement memorandum or my offering memorandum for my deal, if I get this deal under contract and I start to offer it, I am going to need all of this information. This is great stuff. This is cut and paste kind of stuff. Okay, so there it is right there. Look at no in window or in wall air conditioning units. Nice. I like that. They've got new walls, privacy walls. Nice. Okay, so there's a lot of good stuff going on. 1974 property, and it looks like it's pretty well maintained. You haven't seen the roof yet. Oh, do we see the roof? Let's take a look back up here about the roof. Definitely something you want to do a quick little scan. Yeah, look at those roofs. Ah, holy cow. Every roof looks brand new. Oof. Wow. Every roof. Yeah, pitch roofs, individual entrances. Yeah, this is a good little property, guys. 66 units. It's a year two purchase. It's a sophomore year purchase at the Multifamily Investing Academy. This is definitely something you should be going after. But remember, we are investors. We do not pay retail. So if we're going to get this thing, we're going to get it at a good price. We're going to figure out what the value play is, the value add is, and we're going to make it happen. If this guy wants a certain price and it just doesn't work for us, we're not going to buy it. We'll move on. I don't care how pretty it is. This is not a beauty contest. This is an unemotional investment. We just buy it and because all the numbers work for us, not for him. Okay, request for offers, effective gross income, NOI, so T3. What? Seriously? Come on. A T3? Why are you just going to give me a T3? This property's been in force since 1974. Why can't you give me a year's worth of information? Gosh, I hate it when brokers do that. Financing summary, buyer to obtain new debt. Perfect. We're not assuming his existing loan. That's what that means. There are the numbers, executive summary. Okay, so these are always good. This information right here is always good because what you're going to obviously grab all the information about what the units look like, but the most important thing, average lease rents, they've got right here. Recent leases, asking rent, market rent. This is what we're going to be using to get started. This column right here is what the top line gross potential rent is going to be based upon. Okay, so what page are we on? 19. 19 and 6. I'll write that down right now on my little yellows. So we have page 6 and page 19 are what we're looking for here. So let me see what Mike Butler has to add here. Upgraded, yep. And not much value for me. I love dealing with this. So this is to me. Yeah. See, my student that sent this in is concerned that this is a market rate play. And, you know, I tell you something, Kirkland Group tends not to sell things on any wholesale level. They are retail brokers. That's my concern. But you know what? Fine. We don't have enough money to be stupid with it. So we're going to make an offer that works for us. California investors, they have enough money to be stupid. And so let them. If this is a California investor property, let them have it. You'll never be able to compete against those guys, and you don't want to, because they lose money, and you are here to make money. You don't have enough time to lose money. You only have enough time to get this deal done, right? Okay. So there's page 16. Let me go back here, scroll down some more. Boy, okay, so now they're doing, what's he doing? There he goes again, T6 annualized, T3 annualized, who cares? Here's 2015, why don't we just use 2015 numbers? Why can't you just let us use 2015? Because 2015 does not look as good as all these other numbers. So guess what? We're going to use 2015. Gosh. And here you've got the 2015 expenses as well, all built in there. Okay. All right. This is page 20. I'm going to be coming back to this page as well. just to make sure that my student put the numbers into the CFA correctly. Listen, this is great information. Read all of these footnotes with a very jaundiced eye that the broker is trying to make his baby look as pretty as possible. And it doesn't mean that you are going to think the same way. Okay, there's this looks like, okay, fine. They gave us a trailing 12. Okay, that's great. But, we're going to use a 2015. Rent comps. I don't care. I'm going to go do my own rent comps because I want to make sure that this thing is not in a position of a gain to lease, where in other words, the rents are higher than the rents in the market are lower than what this guy's charging. Look, he charges a $250 refundable deposit, no admin fee. Application fee is $35 per person. They've got a pet fee of $300 and nothing more. If you want to have a pet there, you pay $300 and no pet rent. I would charge pet rent. That would be an opportunity right there. Okay, amenity, blah, 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 laundry facility. So we might see some form of laundry income on the property. All right. Boom. Okay, Windsor. Oh, rent comps. I don't care about this. Let me just scroll through this to make sure that he's got a lot more pretty pictures here. Hey, folks, let me just tell you something. You see these rent comps and how he's got them all laid out nice and neat? This is a great prospecting opportunity for you because he just laid out, if you're looking to buy a property in this particular marketplace, well, here's all your competition. Which one of your competition is struggling? We were looking at a property just this morning, another student and I, and the deal that he was looking at, the broker put up a property package and it showed a bunch of rent comps. And of course, all the rent comps look great except for one that showed a 70% occupancy. And the guy was using it as a rent comp against a B-class property. And I thought, well, if this is truly a rent comp and it's the same style asset and the same quality asset, why is this guy running at 70% and everybody else is at 95%? There's a value add opportunity. I want to call the owner of that property and buy his property. Forget this one. This one's at retail already. Let's buy the one that's struggling by picking up the phone and calling that property and saying, hey, I'd like to speak to the owner. Because if that thing's a true B-class asset in a market of 95% occupancy and he's running at 70, hey, there, I smell opportunity. So when you see these rent comps, keep your eye on them as a potential prospecting tool to find other deals. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? I don't really care. There's nothing else going to be in here. Nothing else. What is this thing here? Rent statistic. Who cares? Who cares? This is great stuff. Great stuff for when you go to bill your PPM. But right now, that's it. Oh, he even gives me notes. Must have run out of nothing to stick in there. Okay, so there's our property package. Now we're going to jump on over here to the cash flow analyzer. Okay. So first thing you're going to do is you stick in the purchase price, but we don't have a purchase price, do we? So we don't know what to put in there. But do we know the cap rate? Have we figured out what the cap rate is for that property in that marketplace? Have you? Because you're the investor, you should know. If you're looking to buy on this property, you should tell me right now, what is the cap rate for this type of property? Okay? Anybody? Bueller? No. Well, look at my client put in 7%. He says that based upon his experience and his knowledge, that this property is trading for a 7 cap in Chattanooga. Okay, I'll buy that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a 7 number down here. We have nothing up here, but we have a 7 down here. Now he's already filled in the blanks here, but I want you to understand when you are building this cash flow analysis model and you don't know what the purchase price is, we put 0 up there. Well, then what happens is when we put a 7 number down here, this number should automatically be 0 at this point because that number is being created based upon the cap rate and the net operating income that we built into the cash flow analyzer. But we haven't got to that stage yet. We haven't, you and me on this call, but my client already has. That's why you're seeing a $4.78 million valuation. But if we had not put in the income, if we had not put in the expenses, this thing would have a 0 on it. All right. But right now, because it has a 7 in there, and we know what the NOI is, it's telling us that this property is worth $4.78 million at this current net operating income and a 7 cap. All right, fine, cool. Now let's go back. Let's go and figure it out here. Now let's put in the mortgage information. What numbers do we use? Well, let's take a look at this property. Where can we get financing for this deal? It's 66 units. Right now, the NOI is telling us that the valuation is in the $4 million range. Who can we go to? A 1974 asset, but it's a good-looking property. The property condition report will look very favorably upon this property. New roofs, parking lot looks good. 50 out of the 66 units have already been renovated. This is a nice property. It could be what we call an agency loan, a Fannie Mae, a Freddie Mac, an FHA. So if that's the case, let's use agency terms for the information here. And what does that mean? That means we're going to put in 20% down. All right, 20% down, but it's telling me it does not like that, but we're going to use it anyway. Okay, and it tells me that the interest rate about 4.25% and 30-year amortization. So what that means is if we're using an FHA or Fannie Mae loan, Fannie Mae is going to require 20% down. Okay, good. We put that number in there. Then they're going to say that we can do a 30-year amortization. Okay, then we're going to put 360 under that field for amortization. And then the interest rate right now for Fannie Mae is about 4 to 5%, somewhere in that range. Okay, let's be conservative. And I like the number that my client is using right here. About a 4.25%. Let's leave that there. Okay, so the financing information is now set. But as you can see, this big number is missing because we took the purchase price out of the mix right there. Okay, so that way we just leave that blank. And it'll finally be repopulated when we go to put in the actual purchase price after we've looked at it. All right, income. Now, let me see. I think my student sent me over something. Let me just check because he had sent me a text message. Let me see. I said 2-bed should be $775. Okay, 2-bed, 2-bath. Should be, hold on, he says that he's put the information incorrectly in here. Okay, let me just go check. And this is going to be on page 6, I believe, or 20. Let's go down here. All right. Yeah, so let's go to page 20. Let me just do a little. Okay, he said that the market rent's $775. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab this column right here and just check his work. 740, 775, 800, 875, 875, 1125, and 1125. Okay, so what we're going to do is jump back over here. 740, 775. There we go. 800, 875, 875, 1125, 1125. Okay, so those are the right rents. What we're going to do here, just so you understand, is we take the actual gross potential rent, the market rents, and you saw where I pulled that off of page 20 on this page right here, the market rent, because the market rent represents the top line number. I don't want that. Let me go here. And we plug that all that information here. That means that on an absolute best case scenario, when this property is running in Never Never Land, when it's doing the best it possibly can, It's collecting the market rents. There's no occupancy. There's no vacancy. There's no delinquency. And everybody's paying their bills on the first of the month. No problem. This property is going to collect $669,000. Okay? How did it do last year? How did it do in 2015? Did this property collect all of that money? Well, let's take a look. Remember, we go back here and we go to page 20 and we look to see in 2015, this property actually collected, put in cash from the rents, $509,000. Holy cow, 509. They lost $160,000. $160,000. How do we get this number down to 509? This number to 509. We have to come over here and we put in a different vacancy. Let me see. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, right there. Okay. 509. This property, remember what the broker told you, because the broker's your friend and he always tells you everything is the truth, right? Right? Over 98% occupied. 98% occupied, but the property can generate $669,000, and that means it leaves 2% on the table every year. But in the 2015, it only collected $509,000. Is that 2%? That's 23.8% vacancy. That's not 2%. Now let's talk about this for a second, because I want you all to understand this. Think about when you're looking at the offering memorandum from the broker, and the broker shows you the financials, and he shows you a T3. That is a red flag that he has got to jerry-rig his numbers in order to make it look better than it actually is. When he goes out there and he says 98% occupied on a T3, that tells you for the last 12 months this property has sucked wind. And I'm telling you right here, folks, that at 23% vacancy, this property is sucking wind. There's something wrong with it. There's something very wrong with it. And what you want to do is you pick up the phone, you call the broker, and you say, "Hey, Dennis, how's the new baby?" "Oh, that's great. How's your wife doing? All right." "Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, this is I appreciate you sending me over this package. We've gone through it. My investors and my partners and I have really dug down deep on it. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about it? Because it really is. It's interesting. It's a perfect property for us. Tell me a little bit more about it." And you just let them talk. You say, "Well, Dennis, I got this issue here, because you get the property at about a 98% occupied. But obviously, if you look at it at 2015, that was not the case. Can you tell me a little bit more what's going on here?" And then he's gonna realize the gig is up. Numbers don't lie. Brokers lie. And so what you got to do is you got to figure out what's going on here and have him explain it to you. And then you say, "Oh, geez, that's a real problem. Listen, how's the owner feel about this? Is the owner like really serious about this particular price?" He obviously knows that 2015 was a tough year for him. And so you get in that dialogue with the guy, and you let him know that you can't blow smoke up your skirt because of this property, about these numbers. The numbers are the numbers. You know it for a fact. So this is how we do it. Okay, so we're down to 509 on the effective rental income. I'm telling you right now and remember, my client who sent us this put 7% in and had a particular purchase price like 4.7 or what have you. Now that I fixed the vacancy rate, oy vey, this price just plummeted down, plummeted. Okay, I always change this number. Oh, it lets me do it. Let me see if it's going to make me do this. No, it's not. I can't do it because I've disabled the macros. I could fix it up here, but I won't. Okay, expenses. Now, I am not going to go through. Ooh, he's really. So we've got an annual. He's got my client has $277,000 in here as the total expenses. Let's go back to the client information here, and let's put in 19. No, we're going to go down one more. Okay, expenses. So this is $289,000 for 2015. 289. 244. It's probably going to be bigger than this. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you were to build this, what we would look at is we'd look at the taxes. Look at this. The pro forma taxes are up to 106,000, and he's got it at 47 for last year. Huh? That's $59,000 increase. So we've got to go up $59,000 on the taxes. Insurance 16. He's saying it's the same thing as 16. Electricity, all these numbers. Look at, he's got the total expenses on the pro forma of 341. I'm using that number. If he thinks it's going to cost me 341 to run this property next year, I'm going to use that number. So I'm going to jump back over here. Oh, this property's not looking good anymore. I got to add in here 47. Let's add $70,000 just to dump it in there. I'm going to drop it by. Okay. 341, 64,000. There it is, 341,090, right? 341,904. My expenses are right in line with his. Now it's running at a 61% expense ratio. Oy. And he's got the income, he's got 23% vacancy. So there's your value add right there. If you get that. Now the thing is about Doug Rutherford software, is that number, you and I are calling it a 23% vacancy. Do not make the mistake of calling Dennis Harris and saying, hey, Dennis, this property is running at a 23% vacancy. He'll look at you and say, what the hell are you talking about? This property is not running at a 23% vacancy. And the fact is that it is not. If you did that, then you and Dennis would be arguing about apples and oranges. And what you need to understand is that Doug Rutherford software calls it vacancy, but what Doug does and what we've done through this analysis is we've really encompassed in that vacancy number. We've included the physical, economic, delinquency, concessions, manager's office, bad debt, all of these categories together, and we've called it vacancy. So when Dennis says 98% vacancy, he's a broker. To him, the only form of vacancy is physical. No heads in the beds. But for everyone else, you've got to add in all these other categories so that you get this number. So this is how we come up with 23%. Don't tell Dennis it's 23%. He'll tell you it's 2. And you'll say, you know what, Dennis, you're right. The physical vacancy is 2%. But we've got 21% of the rest of the factory not generating any product revenue. And you've got to think about the multifamily property. You've got to think about an apartment building as a factory that generates a product. And every factory runs at a certain level of efficiency. And this property is running at about 76% efficiency. at 76% efficiency. Your job as a manager of factories is to get in there and fix the efficiency on this property, and then you will start to realize some great money. Okay? So that is the story on the income. That's the story on the expenses. Okay, now you ready? You ready? Well, we're not even going to jump over to this number, this package right here yet, the cash flow analysis. We're going to first go back to the input data tab, okay? Just taking a swig of water. Now, let's scroll down here. Look at that. Whoa, 7% cap rate means this property is only worth $3 million. What did my client say it was worth? 4.7? Wow. We were way off. We were way off. So I ask you folks, who's right? Who's right? Am I right? Is Dennis right? Is the seller right? Who's right? You all know the answer to that. I'm right. I'm right not because I'm the guru. I'm right because this offer works for me. That is all you need to care about. If the offer doesn't work for you, you don't make it. You fix it or you move on. Now, in this particular case, do you know how I know that Dennis doesn't know what the right price is? Because he didn't put it on the number. He didn't put it on his package. If he knew this property, this is worth $5 million, he would tell you it's worth $5 million. But he knows that for him to justify any good number, he is going to show nothing because he cannot justify any good number. All right. So my offer is $3 million. Next question is, to me, is this the right price? In other words, based upon what we know, how does a $3 million offer, a purchase price, look to my investors? Is it something that my investors will get excited about? So let's take a look. Let's jump on over to, no, I want to scroll down first. Let's make sure the banking information is correct. 20%, 4 1/4, 360. Now you see the amount borrowed is right there, 2.4 million. All right. All right, $1 million question. But before I jump over there, I want to see if there are any questions. And there are some questions. Let me just take a quick gander here. Whoa, a lot of questions. Didn't see higher. Yeah, the higher tax rate, Mike. Do you every time? Let's see, 775, got that. All right. He's going off the pro forma, I know. Let me see. Property was repositioned over the past 2 years up to performing mid 2015. So in other words, this guy wants you to buy based upon the repositioning. But remember, guys, we're investors. We don't pay retail. We got to finish those other 16 units, and we got to show a track record on this property. This guy's trying to sell the property too soon. Why can't he wait a year? Why can't he enjoy the revenue? Why can't he show that his property can actually perform over that year period? All right. Let's see. Not me. Okay. But in 2015, they were renovating parts. So they had according to, okay. Oh, the new girl in the classroom. Of course. So let's talk about what the new kid on the block is talking about, and she's saying that. But in 2015, they were renovating the apartments, so they had a higher vacancy during renovation. Yeah, that's true. That may be true. That may be true. But let me ask you something, young little whippersnapper. Where do you get that proof? Prove that to me. Show me where that is the reason, because I don't see anywhere in the broker's package where he says that that's what he's doing. Now, I may have missed it. I may have totally overlooked it, but prove it to me. Don't assume anything, okay? So Now, the next thing that the newbie says is where they were. Oh, the reason for the T3 is the period where they were at 95% occupancy. Of course, Ada. And Ada, what you need to do is you need to go look at my my Bent Creek offer package, because Bent Creek is legendary in the business as far as me analyzing these property packages. And what the brokers do in those cases is not only do they just grab that one section of time that works for them, they will pick and choose different times for the income and different times for the expenses. And as I always say, wow, that's a novel concept. I'm going to try that with the IRS next time. And let's see how long I can stay at Leavenworth, because you can't do that. But the brokers are notorious for doing that. They will make make any property look great to a, as we always call them, California investor, because they just don't analyze these numbers. And we have to analyze these numbers. We have to be absolutely sure that these numbers work, or we're not doing it. So they can choose the T3 for any period they want. As I always say, as what my mother used to say, you have to see the woman in all 4 seasons before you can marry her. You can't analyze a deal on a T3. It just doesn't work. Okay, so let's see if she responded back. Yeah, we said, okay, so the response back is, we said that, no. My client said that they were repositioning over the last 2 years, okay? Is that hearsay? Any out of court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted therein, except a party's own statement against a party. Because I say this right now because I know that this new student is a lawyer, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's the definition of hearsay. My client is saying what the broker told him. I don't believe a word the broker tells me. Show it to me in facts. Go back and show me the trailing fit 12, the T12 that is also included in this package that I have not reviewed, so I may be wrong. But you have to look at the facts. You must know exactly what's going on these properties. You can't take anyone's word for anything. Think about it. You never want to be in the situation where you're having to explain to your investors why the deal failed because you took some broker's word for it and you didn't back up the information. So that is what you need to do on all of these scenarios. So don't believe for a second what anybody tells you. You've got to verify everything by independent third-party resources. Okay. Okay. Yes, exactly. All right. I think I've won. I think I've won my new friend over. She says they need to show us the money. Exactly. We've got to see the money. Okay, Mike just asked a really interesting question. Mike says, should we show an increase in expenses for reposition years as well? Okay, you know what? That's a great way to help verify what they're saying is true. If the broker tells you, oh, well, the reason why the income was so low is because we were repositioning during that period of time, and therefore we lost that income because those units were down. Okay. Why were they down? Well, because we were repositioning them. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, we spent, $3,000 per unit to reposition these properties. Okay, show me the receipts. And if the conversation ends there, I think you got the guy. I think the guy is not telling you the full story. Okay, so you've got to think about these things. Mike, that's a great follow-up here, is that not only if there's a repositioning situation where there's a loss of income, there should also be a corresponding increase in the expenses during that period of time because you're spending the money to get those units back online. And if the guy can't show it to you, he can't prove it to you, then you've got a problem. Okay, great point. Excellent point, Michael. Okay, all right. Yes, all right. So those are great questions, everybody. Fantastic. All right, that was a good analysis. So now let's go see how we did. How did we do? And what we do is we check right down here in the cash flow analysis. And it jumps on over. Okay, first number I always go to. People think that I'm crazy about this, going to this number first, but I don't care about anything else. If the number doesn't meet my debt coverage number, I don't even want to. I go back and I fix my offer. This particular debt coverage ratio is 1.53. Is that a good number? That's a great number. Okay, first off, the property seems to be in a good, solid, stable physical condition. So I'm not going to be spending a lot of money to have to reposition it. This probably is just a marketing problem, having to get in there and actively manage this property and get people in the door. So if that's the case, a 1.53 debt coverage ratio is a great sleep number. I can sleep well at night owning a property like this one that has a 1.53 debt coverage ratio. If this had a 1.3 debt coverage ratio, would I be excited about it? No, I wouldn't. Even though that would pass muster with the banks, I don't care about the banks. The banks don't care about me. I want the debt coverage ratio to work for me. A 1.3 on a property like this would fail my test because, as you all know, my debt coverage ratio analysis is not a static number like some guys are out there teaching. Different quality assets are able to support different levels of debt coverage ratio. A Class A property you can buy at a 1.3 debt coverage ratio. If you ever tried to make an offer on a Class A property with a 1.6 debt coverage ratio, you would be rejected every time. Your offer would be always too low. You would always fail. But the thing is, you can live and you can sleep very nicely owning A-class property with a 1.3 debt coverage ratio because Class A residents pay their bills. You don't have to go knocking on doors very often to a Class A resident. So having a lower debt coverage ratio for a higher quality of asset is okay. Now, in this particular property, we look at it and we say, is this an A, B, or a C? Folks, it looks great. It looks like the guy spent a lot of money, but I don't care about the physical analysis on the property. I look at the quality of the tenant. We can look at the quality of the asset, which is one letter grade, but at the same time, we have to look at the quality of the tenant as being another letter grade. You can have an A-class property filled with C-class residents. Does that mean you own an A-class property? No. It means you own a C-class property because C-class residents don't pay their bills. They're late. The rents are lower on C-class properties. If you're delinquent on a C-class property, do you think you're ever going to collect that delinquency? No. You're going to evict that person, and in the dark of night, they're going to put all their worldly belongings in a hefty bag and be out the door. So the question is, on this particular property, is it an A class, B class, or a C class? I look at this as a 1974 product. Even though we have built it up and it looks nice and they put a lot of money into it, you have to prove to me, based upon what the market rates are, that this is truly a B class property or whether it's a C class property. I'm going to go with the C class property right now. So in the C class property, I can live with a 1.6 debt coverage ratio. In this particular case, let's see, it's 1.53. But look it, I bet my client made a mistake. Look it, he put the reserve amount of this property. Oh, he put it after the NOI. Oh, bravo. Bravo, Michael. I apologize. I was thought I was going to catch you in a little dilemma there. What does lender use? Okay, Mike. Okay, so I was going to get Mike in trouble. See, look at this drop-down box right here, folks. You need to look at this. If you were to put your reserves in here, okay, then what you need to do is you need to determine whether you put the reserves before the NOI or after the NOI, and that block right there on that input data tab is exactly where you do it. Okay. If you're a broker, you put it above the line. For some reason, I don't understand why. If you're a bank, you put it above the line, because when you're a bank, you want to make sure that the property is able to support its debt, even with the reserve replacements above the line. So therefore, the debt, and they calculate the debt coverage ratio on that analysis where the reserve replacement is above the line. How do you do it as an investor? You put the reserve replacements below the line, okay? And that's how you analyze your debt coverage ratio right there. So in this particular case, Mike did it right. Report amounts after NOI. Now, Mike asked the question, going back to the repositioning time, if property was repositioned recently, do we use the T6 income and expense to get a clear picture? What does the lender use? Okay, the issue here is you've got to get creative. If you're really going after this property because you know it's a smoking hot deal, you want to get creative and make sure that you're not blowing yourself out of the water with your offer because it's too low, because you did a 12.6, you did a T12 on a property that had no income 12 months ago, and it built it up to where it is today over the last 12 months. You want to make sure that you don't kill yourself because it's a great deal and you don't want to make a mistake on the numbers. The lender will do 90 for 90. The lender will look at 90 days and will want 90% occupancy in order for them to sustain their underwriting requirements and their underwriting guidelines. Is that the right thing for you? No. The bank is your biggest partner, but he's not your friend. You want to make sure that you look at this property and that you're able to sustain this property over a 12-month period, even though the seller was able to do every trick in the book to get you to 90 for 90. And so that it satisfies the bank. You don't care about satisfying the bank. You've got to satisfy yourself and your investors. So make sure that even if you look, you're looking at a repositioning opportunity, it's an ongoing sustainable repositioning. All right, you're going to need to get creative on that analysis. Okay, next. Let's see. So we came up with the 1 point. Let me jump back over here to the cash flow analysis. Okay, 1.53 looks good. Cash and cash return right there at 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we're spitting off some okay numbers. It's a you got to think about your next sale. Your first sale here is to sell the owner on your offer. The next sale is to sell your investors on the returns. And so we're looking at this property as what kind of money is this thing going to spit off? Well, the whole property spits off 9 to 12. Okay, but the thing is, when we go to sell the property, you're looking at it 38%, 31, 27, 24% cash on cash return. When we strip out the equity, so that actually might be all right. We might be able to do a good sales job. Now, let me just give you a little bit of heads up. The investors, people look at this spreadsheet and they think to themselves, "Oh, look at the red. Look at the red on this package. Why is this? This is not a good deal. Look, it's showing red." Well, just so you understand what this red means and what this red represents. This red represents how much money you would make on the sale of this property at the end of in this particular case, year 1, then year 2, then year 3. So if you were to sell this property at the end of year 1, what this means is that you're going to lose money. Now, how do you know you're going to lose money? Because if you jump over here to the input data screen and you go down here to this section, future expenses price, and you have 6%, that means when you go to sell this property at the end of the first year, you will not have made 6% return on your money after paying off your broker and all the other selling expenses. You're going to lose money. So look what happens. If I were to change this number to 0, and in other words, I sell this property and the cost of selling it at the end of the first year is 0, look at, I make money. So don't get too concerned about that number being negative, because You're not selling in the end of the first year. That's not your investment strategy. So don't get all hung up on that number. All right. That's why I see people doing that and they get all concerned. That's why if you look at it and you look down here, it's a negative cash return. The money we spin off this property is 9%. Okay, hey, that's pretty good. So that's why you don't get too concerned about those numbers. All right. Okay, so what do? We got a $3 million purchase. Let me just jump back over here. I don't know if I did I swipe this still with me here? Let me just stop my screen share. Let me just grab my screen share here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, hold on a second. Let me just grab this here. All right. All right. All right. Let me. I don't want to I don't want to show my screen right now until I have permission from my student to share with you the LOI. I don't want to tell tales out of school here. If he says yes, I will. If he says no, I totally understand. But I do not have permission to share this with you. It's okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Okay, so let me share with you the actual his LOI. Can you also tell me, because sometimes we have a problem when we switch to a different application, can you tell me, everyone, that you can see this LOI in a Word document? Just type into the question box, you can see it. Okay, thanks, Ada. Okay, so what my client did here is he decided to use the long form LOI. This is a good quality asset. Let's see if we can get this thing under contract right away. So as you can see, he's put in all the right information. But look at this, man. We're going to change that number, aren't we? He will be the prettiest girl in the whole trailer park if he puts that number in there, won't he? So we're going to change that to the $3 million. We'll change this number to 30,000. Now let's see what he did here. 5 days after the receipt of all documents. So the effective date, he defined the effective date the right way. He said, I'm not going to give you a dime until you give me all the information I need, because I'm not going to start the clock ticking on my inspection period until I have all the information. If you don't give me all the information and the clock starts ticking, I'm wasting my time. Not only am I wasting my time, but I've just taken $30,000 of my own money and stuck it in someone else's bank account while you sit around and do nothing. And we don't want to be that guy. And I'm telling you, folks, this is how we do it. And this is how I draft these documents for my students, because I've been through this so many times. If the seller cannot get you the information you need in short order, you're going to have problems with this deal. You're going to have problems with getting this deal closed. Because remember, look at this. Think about this for a second. If the seller balks at that, or the broker balks at that, take a look at this document. Let me scroll down. Look at Schedule 1. There's all the information we need. This is the very first communication I'm having with the seller. I am telling him on day one, this is the information that I will need after we've gone through the whole entire purchase and sale negotiation and we're ready to sign. I've been telling you from day one, this is the information I need. And you can't give it to me when we've executed the purchase and sale agreement? Are you kidding me? But you still want me to put $30,000 of my own money in someone else's bank account? No. When the broker balks at that how we've defined our effective date, you need to go into this document and say to the broker, what can't he provide on day one? What documents can he not provide? Tell me now, because if you tell me he can't provide any of them, I'm moving on to the next deal. Oh, no. We can provide a lot of that. Well, what can't you provide? Well, I don't know. Well, don't tell me you don't know and tell me that my definition is wrong. Tell me what you can't provide for me, and then we'll go back and we'll figure it out. We want this whole process to move smoothly, but you do not want to be hijacked by the seller, especially, hey, for crying out loud, guys, if you're using my earnest money deposit program, you're paying for that money. So think about it. Let's make sure that this guy does it the right way. All right. That is that. 45. Closing date is going to be after 15 days after the expiration of the financing period. Good, good, good. Escrow agent should be determined by the purchaser. Good. Never let the seller determine who the title company is going to be. That's actually the next thing right here, the purchaser. It's your title insurance policy. It should be your title insurance company. The seller is going to provide the survey. Good, good, good. Inspection period 30 days after the effective date. Okay, no problem. Due diligence. That's all pretty much the same. We're going to do Schedule 1, environmental review, right of entry. I want to stress this for a second. Purchaser will have the right to enter the property with prior reasonable notice during reasonable business hours for any purpose in connection with its inspection of the property during the inspection period. Does everyone see where it says during the inspection period? What, you don't see where it says that? That's right. You know why you don't see that? Because it doesn't say that. What does that mean? It means that you can go on the property at any time while you're under contract. You know, I'll tell you something, folks. If you do an assumption could take you the longest time to get the deal done. An assumption could take 5 months. So that means that you go in there to do the inspection process in the first 30 days, and then once it's done, it takes another 4 months before you close. What can happen on a multifamily property in 4 months? Everything. Gang wars, murders, everything happens. You want the right to be able to walk back on that property at any time while you're under contract and re-inspect the property. And that's why we write it the way we do. Okay. Let's see. Closing costs. Oh, yeah. Okay. Fine. Prorations, financing period, 60 days. Okay. So it's a 30, 60, 75-day close. Perfect timing. 30, 60, 75. That's just the way you want to do it. Everything else looks good. Let it rip. Fix the price. Let it rip. Okay. Boy, that took a little bit longer than an hour. My apologies, folks. I don't like to go long. I like to keep everything about an hour. Does anyone have any final questions here before I end the call? Hope this was helpful to you all. Okay, I'm going to give you a 3, 2, best and final due tomorrow. Yeah, best and final are due tomorrow. Oh no. Does that mean if the broker doesn't get it tomorrow, we're dead? Yeah, trust me. Send it in next week and he'll give it the same level of credibility as something sent in right now. Brokers will do anything to make their clients happy, and especially at your detriment. Don't be that person. All right, everybody. Great call. Great call. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. I agree. This is a lot of fun. I hope you learned a lot. I think you did. All right, so let's end this, and this will be posted up on the membership site shortly. And otherwise, I will chat with you all later. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.